This sweatsuit feels like instant recovery mode. Meet the smooth spacer matching hoodie and joggers from Lululemon. In a weighty fabric that's soft on the inside and sleek against your skin, bringing that perfect cool-down feeling wherever the day lands. Smooth spacer sets. Available now at Lululemon.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, in just a moment, we're going to talk to Josh Klein, who had a really powerful story about polls showing support by MAGA for President Trump on the war against Iran. But first, here's President Trump today. He was asked about this report that the Pentagon is looking to get about $200 billion from Congress to be able to replenish the military, to have it first and foremost always be ready. And President Trump was praising the American men and women and our great military hardware and the success that it's had against Iran, even just in the last few hours.
We have the strongest military in the world. We have the best equipment. We make by far the best equipment. The other night, they had 114 rockets shot at a certain location. And out of 100 highly sophisticated rockets, out of 114 sophisticated rockets, every single one of them was shot down with our equipment, all our equipment. It's amazing, actually, how good it is. So we want to be sure, and it's a small price to pay to make sure that we stay tippy-top.
Yeah, that is amazing. And really, you are seeing American military might on full display. And working, obviously, with the Israelis, it's been nothing short of a historic military feat. Well, joining us now to talk about where this is politically for President Trump is the great investigative reporter Josh Klein with Breitbart. And Josh, it's so great to have you here on the Rita Cosby Show. Fill us in about the polls. You had a great story revealing MAGA support for Trump.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Rita, and you do unbelievable work. I put out a report, and it was picked up actually everywhere in very important places. Right now, there's this false narrative going on, and we're in the middle of a very, a complex operation. And it's showing that poll after poll after poll. This is 3 weeks in. This is a trend line. Numerous polls, probably 10, 15, 20 at this point, are showing unequivocally. If you want to start first with the MAGA base, it's on average 90 to 95%. Amongst Republican voters, it's about 85 to 90%. And then amongst all voters, there was a recent poll that came out actually 2 days ago from Rasmussen, which is very accurate. It showed that amongst all likely voters, 61% approve of the mission so far. And then people that are even more informed about what's going on and following this even closer, it actually even grows to 66% of all likely voters. So there's a huge gap between the narrative that is being pushed by certain elements on the right and the left, very loud voices, and the reality on the ground.
Yeah, that's a great point, because it seems like there is this sort of narrative, and yet it seems to be a very small minority, right, that's trying to sort of make the headlines. You also wonder with some in the media, it's like, Trump could cure cancer tomorrow and they'd blame the pharmaceutical companies, Josh?
No, for sure. It's kind of disgusting. We're in the middle of an operation. There's American lives literally at risk, and American lives have paid the ultimate sacrifice already. Thank God it hasn't been, in huge numbers, but every life is significant. And to kind of be rooting against America just because you might have a disagreement or, well, it's beyond that, a political hatred for the president. To actually root against your own country, to actually try and undermine, support for this is, it's just actually baffling, and I don't even have words to even put it in. It's upsetting.
It is. It is. Now, you've covered, obviously, a lot of these stories for a long time. Were you surprised that even within MAGA, it is 90 to 95%? That's big. And GOP, and then to your point, all voters overwhelmingly also saying they support this. Is there anything that surprised you about some of the numbers you've seen?
No, because in a way, I think there's this implicit trust between the base and President Trump that's been built up over a long period of time. I mean, Trump is not, and he is not one to go rushing into wars. He tried to exhaust every avenue and negotiate with this radical regime beforehand. So I think he built up the credibility, and they have faith and trust in him that this is, he's going to live up to his word. And this is not going to be a forever war. This is ending a forever war. Let's not forget this. I mean, this is a regime that's been fighting us constantly for 47 years. We've had president after president saying, oh, they're going to do something about it. And even worse than that, the stuff that they did about it was actually provide more resources towards this regime, which ultimately, wanted to build a nuclear bomb that screams death to America, death to Israel. And this is not just a mantra. I mean, they actually built a strategy around this, and they had plans to implement this. So I think that the MAGA base is smart enough to kind of see through this and has the trust and the faith in President Trump, and it's been built up, and he has that credibility. And in a way, I was not surprised by these numbers because of all that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's not like he has been in a rush to go to war. You could tell that he was trying to negotiate for a long time with Iran. They obviously did those strikes last year on the nuclear facilities. And then he said since then they started building it up. I mean, it was clear that they were obviously in a very destructive path, not just for the region, but potentially for the world. The last thing you want is someone like the Ayatollah having access to a nuclear weapon, or being able, with the ballistic missiles, the direction and the length of the ballistic missiles, the distance they could travel. There's so many issues here. What I thought was really powerful, Josh, was just earlier this week, we heard from President Trump, and he gave an interesting comment from the White House, kind of fitting to your point, where he said that the past presidents, and especially one of them in particular, said, hey, I wish I had done that. And then he was asked, was it George W. Bush? And he said, nope. And then then the reporter said, was it Clinton? And he said, I can't tell you, which probably means it is Clinton. But that's a very good point of lost opportunities with so many other, presidents in the past, that you have to admire that President Trump said, I will not allow a terrorist regime, the worst in the world, to have a nuclear weapon. He had obviously a lot of intelligence talking about their development and where they were at, and did the courageous thing for history, and wasn't thinking of the polls when he did it. He's thinking of, safety and freedom for the world.
Yeah, and then actually I would say another aspect that's kind of been underreported is the Arab world itself, the Gulf Arab world. I mean, that is normal, that is not, that doesn't believe in this radical theocratic, end of the world type of scenarios, which is Iran and this radical regime. The Arab world, there were reports of Saudi Arabia actually behind the scenes actually petitioning Trump to actually attack Iran. And now they're overtly saying, they've been attacked constantly over the past few weeks, but actually yesterday their foreign minister came out and said, enough is enough. You continue this, and we're going to start attacking you back. So I think it's also kind of interesting and underreported, that aspect of it, that the Arab world itself, realizes how, the type of threat that this regime poses, and the necessity of it, being literally obliterated.
Yeah, great points. And in fact, even the attacks that Iran has done on many in the Arab world, many of their facilities and elsewhere, it really has backfired. And you could tell they've already, many of them put out this joint statement condemning the attacks by Iran. It's been remarkable to see that sort of coalition coming together against Iran, if you will. Trump is really realigning everything. And I think the American public, to your point, is seeing that and appreciating it and saying, thank goodness he had the courage in this case and in, so many others to step in to try to change the direction of the world. It is a noble task. Joshua, I want to make sure everybody, it's Joshua Klein _ on Twitter. So make sure that you check out Joshua and all his great work there at Breitbart, because you do such great work, Josh, and always have some good scoops. And you got to come back on again soon. We always love having you, Josh. It's great talking to you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Looking forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Josh. Thanks a lot.